everybody, and welcome to ESO Weekly for October the 30th. I am your co-host? Something? Sure. Hi, I'm Kyle, and with me as always is this guy over here. Am I right?
Yeah, I think we're both co-hosts. That's how it goes, yeah.
Yeah, because like if I say I'm a host and then I say you're a co-host, does that sound degrading?
That makes me lesser. Like I
Okay.
feel like a lesser man because of that. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, everybody grab your sword and prepare your best get over here sound, because this week we are going to be talking about the Dragonknight skill lines. And after that, we are going to do a little something we haven't done in a while, and that's a hot button topic, or a debate, as it were. And that we are going to focus on, is ESO PvP focused? So that's a question that I've seen, and just recently it was brought up by Massively on their Tamriel Infinium article thing they do. And that was their question, like, is ESO seeming to be PvP focused? And if so, is that necessarily a bad thing, or is that a good thing? So that's something we'll talk about a little later. So first off, let's go into the Dragonknight skill lines. So this one has been one of the more popular classes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was the first one announced, and I don't know, it's just that class that people gravitate towards because it's your typical class. It's your soldier if we were in Mass Effect or whatever. He's a melee fighter, he wears heavy armor, and goes face to face with his enemies and kicks ass up close and personal.
Alright, so let's jump into the first skill line, and that is Ardent Flame, which has a lot of fire damage. You also see a lot of burning damage over time effects, or that's when someone says DOT, that's what that means, damage over time. And it also has some added controls, so let's look into these, and let's start off with the ultimate first, which is the Dragonknight Standard. So this is something you'll plant a flag down into the ground. You'll deal damage to all nearby enemies, but you'll also be reducing their incoming heals, which is great.
So yeah, that sounds like a perfect ability if you want to open that up as a Death Knight on the front lines of battle. You know, plant that right in the middle of the fray so it gets as many of your enemies under it as possible, and then yeah, they have a hard time healing.
Next up is this is kind of the signature trademark move, I guess, for the Dragonknight that everyone's going to be using if you're a Dragonknight, and that is Fiery Reach. So this one is your basic get over here Scorpion / Death Grip from the Death Knight.
Yeah.
You pull an enemy close to you using these fiery chains. It's definitely cool looking, but we've seen it before many times.
It's an oldie, but it's a classic. It's a favorite of anybody who's playing a tank type class, and it becomes especially useful when you're trying to get an enemy mob off of healers, which is going to be obviously the primary role of the tank in PvE as well as PvP, is to make sure the enemies aren't beating up on your healers, because they're a bit squishier. So it forces attention onto you.
And in the PvP aspect, if there's enemies on the walls or something, if they're within range of that spell, you can pull them down from the wall. So if you have one of those a-hole archers with poison arrow, just poisoning everyone they can or casting whatever, if they're within range, pull their asses down and kill them. Now,
that would be a wicked surprise, huh?
Yeah.
That's gotta suck.
I thought it was safe.
What's the point in walls when the other team has Dragonknights?
Alright, so and go check out the other skills there. They're pretty self-explanatory, but those were the ones that kind of just stuck out the most to us. Now let's go into the passives for it. We have increased damage and duration, or burning duration. So that's very good, since, pretty much all those skills in that line does that. And then we have warmth. Now this what is it? Oh, anytime you deal fire damage, it also applies a snare to enemies. So again, since like all of those abilities do cause fire damage, you're always going to be putting a cripple or a snare onto them.
That'd be great for, I could see a mage type guy who's looking to spec into the destruction staff and all that. Imagine every single one of your damaging abilities, if they're fire attacks, have a snare on them. Mm-hmm. So it makes kiting extremely easy. And for those who aren't familiar with MMO terms, kiting is, let's take this scenario where there's a tank running at you and you're a sorcerer. Kiting is when you're crippling them and just running around them in circles, pretty much. They're having a hard time getting to you. That's kiting around.
Keeping your distance while laying down the DPS as much as you can.
Yeah, which is crucial to a lot of ranged. I mean, kiting is what you guys do as ranged characters.
Squishy.
Yeah, since you're squishy.
All right, so that is it for Ardent Flame. So let's go down into Draconic Power. This is your very defensive skill line. It also has some added control and heals as well. So it's definitely going to be great for tanks and for group play if you are going to be playing that tanky Dragonknight. So keep this in mind. The ultimate is Dragon Leap. I'm sure this one's going to be pretty cool looking to see, because you leap forward on magical wings, dealing AoE damage upon landing, knocking nearby foes backward. So I can see this one definitely useful in a party situation. If you're in a dungeon or something and you're the tank, and not necessarily have to be the tank, but let's just say you are the tank, and you see that, oh, you missed some guys and they're now beating up on your casters in the back line. You can jump to them and just knock all those guys back, allowing you to possibly gain the threat back, and so they start beating on you, and also allowing the casters to kind of run away in fear, screaming.
I wonder what's going to be better. I mean, if you see, in any scenario where you see somebody attacking your healer, what's going to be better, you think? This Dragon Leap thing or the Get Over Here chain ability?
Well, keep in mind the Dragon Leap is an ultimate, so you have to have the ultimate to actually cast it. Also, I would think that's more for when there's multiple foes, since it does strike all nearby ones, whereas the Fire Reach is only single targets. So.
Right, so I could see you using Fiery Reach a lot more, and then only using this in like one of those scenarios where, oh my god, half the group is attacking the healer, and I should probably pop this ultimate. But it's a very cool looking ability. I mean, we've seen it in gameplay. It's these dragon wings. They kind of look bat-like, and they come out of your shoulder blades. So as it should look cool, being an ultimate and all.
Another kind of cool one, it's kind of funny looking and maybe a little dorky, is the spiked armor.
Really? You think that's dorky?
I think it's kind of dorky looking.
I think it is the coolest looking ability. We are totally opposite on that.
It reminds me of the movie Beetlejuice when when Beetlejuice got all the little thorns in him, and he says, "I'm feeling a little thorny." He looks exactly like that, so that's what I think.
I've never seen Beetlejuice, so maybe that's why that's tainting your outlook on it. But yeah, I think it looks cool. What happens is your character like roars and these spikes come out of your back, and they're all like I don't know, they look like pretty much the spikes on the back of a dragon.
I think they were black and like glowing red a little bit.
Yeah, like magma in between them. To me, it's badass, but I guess you guys will be the judge.
Yeah, but anyways, what it does is it increases your damage resistance, but it also returns damage to melee attackers.
Yeah.
So that's definitely great for a tank.
Makes sense. Pointy spikes on your back. It'll probably hurt if you run and, try to attack a guy with spikes.
Yep. Now, the next skill is Inhale. This one seems really powerful because it absorbs health from any nearby enemies, but it also returns damage to those foes, dependent on how much health you were taking.
So you just suck it up like a Dementor. You're like,
basically.
That's good health. I like your life force.
But I'm thinking, like, if there is a lot of foes around you, this would be a great farming thing if you're farming a lot of little guys, because you're sucking all the health in, and the more health you're sucking in, the more damage you're going to do to all of them around you. So that sounds really powerful, and also a good threat generator for tanks. Now the passives, let's see, we have Iron Skin. This increases the amount of damage you are able to block. So for you shield Torton, what is it called? Sword and board. You sword and boards out there. That'll be a good
Which I never heard of that term until you used it.
Sword and board?
Yeah, sword and board.
Just because it rhymes.
Always said sword and shield. I had never heard of that. Sword and board.
Well, now you have.
Like, what am I using, a plank as my shield? No, I'm using a shield. It just
rhymes. That's the only reason. Now we have Scaled Armor. This increases your innate resistance to enemy spells, because that seems to be really the only thing that was missing from this whole skill line, and really all the skill lines. There didn't seem to be much in the means of any kind of spell resistance with the Dragonknight, which you're going to have to do, especially when you're fighting a bunch of casters. So that's definitely a good passive to have. And that was it for Draconic Power. So the next skill line is going to be Earthen Heart. And this is the very group oriented skill line you want to use. So if you're going to be tanking in small groups or large groups, this is definitely one that you're going to want to be putting skill points into. So let's start off with the ultimate called Magma Armor. This limits the incoming damage to a maximum percentage per hit that you take. So, and also deals fire damage to all the foes.
Oh, of
that are
course.
around
Let's
you.
just throw that in there.
Might as well.
Everything. Fire damage.
So just think of this. You have let's say a Nightblade who's very good at burst damage, and you see him running up to you. You know he's going to like take half your health probably in one hit because he just has some ridiculous skill.
Yeah, some burst damage.
Yeah, so you know that's coming, so you'll want to hit your ultimate Magma Armor, and that will then limit his maximum damage he could actually do to you to a percentage of your health. So let's just say 10%. So the most he can ever possibly hit you in one hit is 10% of your health. That's a lot better than 50%.
Yeah. This is going to be an imperative skill for any tank, especially in those scenarios too. Like you just offered a PvP example, and I guess I'll offer a PvE example, which would be the big bad boss. I mean, the guy that hits the hardest, you want to use that against to really limit the damage they do. Otherwise, you could be caught in a tight spot really quick. That right there could be a bread and butter ability, and one of the main reasons people want to roll this class if they're looking to be a tank.
Yeah, it'll definitely your healers will thank you because you'll be taking a lot of that trouble off of them having to keep your ass up the whole time.
Yeah, it'll avoid that spiking down that healers hate where your health is there 1 second, gone the next.
Yeah.
You know, they need some time to cast off their spells.
Exactly. Now, a cool ability here is Stone Fist. This one, you like pick up a chunk of rock out of the ground basically, and you hurl it at an enemy, and it does a bunch of physical damage and also knocks the target down. Not just back, but it actually knocks them down. So it's kind of like an added stun and a knockback.
I hope the animation actually has it coming out of the ground like that.
I have a feeling they will actually show it like just a rock rising out of the earth.
Yeah, that was one of the things that Star Wars The Old Republic actually did right.
Except like it's a piece of machinery that in the jungle, the middle of the jungle, just pops out of the ground. Why was there a piece of machinery?
I'll take it. It looks cool. At the end of the day, I think it was the Jedi Counselor or whatever looked cool, tearing shit out of the ground and throwing it at enemies.
Too bad their armor was hideous, but yeah. Let's look at the passives. We have Mountain's Blessing. You gain additional ultimate charge when activating an Earth ability. So again, this is great to pair up with that Magma Armor so you can use it more often. Let's look at Deep Breaths. This, whenever you activate that ultimate ability, it restores your resources. And that's based on the ultimate cost. I am not sure what they mean by resources. I'm assuming they mean like stamina, health, and, magicka. What else would they mean by resources? So again, those are two great passives to pair up with your Magma Armor ultimate, or any ultimate for that matter. So that is it for the Dragonknight. I would definitely say if you're going to be the tanky person and you are going to specifically be playing with parties of groups of people, you're definitely going to want to take the Death Knight as the tank.
The Dragonknight.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
It's okay. Just that's the assumption to make.
Exactly.
I'm sure I've said it already by mistake.
Just think fire instead of dead things. And if you're going for more either PvP or just a lot of different things you want to do while being tanky, then you'll probably want to either choose the Sorcerer or the Templar.
I love the word tanky. I think you've used it like 5 times now.
5,000 times.
We're professionals. We use words like tanky.
Tanky. It's a word, damn it.
He's so adorable. Look how tanky he is.
All right, so that was actually it for all the classes we have currently. I don't know if they're going to be adding any more in the future. We'll see.
I can virtually guarantee they will not. I think anything that they add from here on out, and this is what I'm hoping, is as a skill line that anyone can take. These are skill lines here with the Dragonknight and Nightblade that only those classes get. They're exclusives, right? And exclusives, okay, that's good. You get to make a choice and all that. But anything beyond that, any skill lines they introduce post-launch, I think should be open to the masses. Everyone should get the opportunity to use it. You know why? Because I don't want to necessarily have to feel like I have to re-roll a character to experience, this new skill line they released. I have to roll a Dragonknight now when I didn't initially, I think that jack of all trades type of character that you want to make is going to be possible, and they'll do that by hopefully opening up skill lines post-launch to everybody.
So not even like in expansions, you don't see them adding additional classes?
I hope they don't. If I could vote against it, I would, because I think it'd be stupid. Like, why would you imagine if they made a new class? How many skill lines does each class have? It's three, right? Yeah, 3 skill lines. Would you rather have, and I'm asking this question to you personally, would you rather have a expansion that releases that has that new class with 3 skill lines, or would you rather them add 3 new skill lines to the game? Now you have to kind of put yourself in the shoes, like you're a max level character.
I would say
you've done
it depends. That is a hard one, because with expansions you're expecting a lot more end game content as well, which you'll want to, of course, continue on with your new character. So yeah, or with your old character. So you would want to just have more skill lines to use. But also, I may get bored of that character eventually, and I'll maybe want to roll. I'd like to have another option, at least, besides the four options
classes
I
aren't
have.
enough. Like,
Well, you can always add more classes.
This is assuming you'd have. Okay, I could only see that argument being legit if you already have those 4 classes at level cap. Those 4 classes are already, like, you're an altaholic type of person. Those are all at level cap, because then I think it's just greedy at that point. If you have, like, for instance, a max level Nightblade, and you're like, oh, I would rather have a new class. What? You haven't even played the Dragonknight or the Sorcerer. What are you talking about, new classes?
Well, what if it is a very pet-oriented class or something like that, where you're doing a lot of summoning of pets and stuff? That's something you haven't seen.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I hope they add that to the game, because I would love to see like a minion master. I mean, I know the sorcerer is going to be able to summon pets, but we've only seen one at a time. I would like to see that, like the minion master in like a Guild Wars.
I mean, more
thing.
like the Bretons, how they have that like in Skyrim, the charm animal type thing.
Are you talking about like illusion, like an illusion magic tree?
No.
Where they're controlling minds of creatures?
Well, I guess.
Yeah, that's
but, like,
illusion.
I know the Bretons have an actual power that does that.
Yeah, all that is illusion magic. It's a
But yeah, just go off
charm.
of that and make it to where like one skill line would be like just summoning of different pets. Another one would be buffing those pets. That would be another skill line. And then just a more damaging.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying.
So I would definitely say, yeah, why would you want to do other classes if, you still have 3 other ones to choose from that you haven't played yet, unless they put in a completely different class that you otherwise haven't seen in the game yet.
See, then I would, because I love those trees you just mentioned, like an illusion tree and stuff like that. I would rather see in that expansion a new quest line in the Mages Guild where I get to learn those schools of magic or something where maybe we're dungeon delving in some Ayleid ruins, and I think the Ayleids were the ones that are inclined toward illusion, and that quest line could lead to the discovery of a new skill line that deals in illusion. That to me sounds way more exciting than adding another class, because all I see when I see another class, I see another set of restricted skill lines that I have no access to unless I want to start my character from scratch.
QQ.
Yeah.
QQ. I know a lot of people are gonna like have that defined character and they always want to stick with that character, but then you have a lot of altaholics that just want to do nothing.
Do you fall under the altaholic category?
Only when I'm bored with my character and I just feel like playing something different for a while, then I'll just start trying out different alts.
Yeah.
Or just use them to like freaking farm stuff or whatever. But yeah, I kind of fall in between. It just depends.
Yeah, I've seen you do both playstyles. I've seen you go crazy with alts in games like Guild Wars. And
that was just to make crazy names.
Yeah.
Like curly nipple hair.
Well, Guild Wars 1, though, you had like max level characters of every class.
Yeah,
right?
but it took like 2 hours to max a character
true.
if you knew how to do it. So yeah, I had like 20 maxed characters. I just went ridiculous with that game, so we won't go into that. But anyways, let us know what you guys think. Would you rather have more skill lines that everyone could use, or would you like actual new classes with very defined play styles, I guess, is the best way to word that question. Let us know in the comments down below. But let us go into our hot button topic.
That was almost a hot button debate right there.
I know,
that was good.
was. So let's do another one. Is ESO PvP focused, or at least does it, from the information we have currently, does it seem like it's very PvP focused? Now let's keep in mind that a lot of these developers come from a game called Dark Age of Camelot,
Yes.
which excelled in PvP.
Yeah, that's what it was known for. It was critically acclaimed for its PvP. You have Matt Fireroar, who's the president of ZeniMax Online. Not only the president, but the game director as well. So, I mean, it's his vision. He's the boss man.
The head honcho.
The head honcho at the top. So, naturally, you know, his work on Dark Age of Camelot has influenced the game, and rightly so, and has drawn people of that PvP persuasion into it. I think there's a lot of listeners right now that are listening to this that fall in that category with me. PvP is the shit.
Okay, so let's go through just some of the things that we kind of thought up of that either went for PvP, for ESO being PvP focused, or against that thought.
Sure.
So the fours, I guess.
Okay.
You're allowed to enter Cyrodiil at level 10, and then you can level all the way to 50 within Cyrodiil if you wanted to. Would you say that is geared towards the PvP focused players?
Absolutely geared towards the PvP focused players, because they're going to be able to reach level cap their whole gaming experience except for level 1 through 10, which I don't really even count, because those are like tutorial levels. You know, you're still learning your character and all that. But once you hit that level 10, the rest of your gameplay in the Elder Scrolls Online, you could live in Cyrodiil, never leave it, and still have all the progression that you require in Cyrodiil. So yeah, that's absolutely an argument that ESO is looking for a PvP focus.
All right, now this next one, I'm not so sure if it is a for or against, but there's no PvP specific gear. By that we mean there's no stats tailored toward PvP. Would you say that is more like against? Since there is no PvP specific stats.
Yeah, I guess that would be more against, just because having no PvP specific gear is actually encouraging people who have done nothing but PvP go out and do PvE. Because normally in MMOs what we get is, once you've climbed the ladder in PvP, it's going to be hard to then start at the bottom and climb the ladder in PvE, because everyone who's done PvE from the start of the game all has this max level PvE gear that's specifically tailored for it. Now this PvP player that's at the top of the ladder can jump right over in PvE and be at the top of the ladder, because he's got all that awesome gear that translates perfectly to PvE as well. So yeah, if anything, that caters to the fact that the developers want you to do things other than PvP and explore everything.
All right, so we'll say that is a against ESO being PvP focused. So let's see. PvP will provide buffs for the entire alliance. Now, this is not just within Cyrodiil, but throughout all of Tamriel. If your alliance is winning and getting buffs and stuff, it's throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
So I would say that is pretty PvP focused, I guess.
I think that would be PvP focused as well, because it's really going to impact every player in the game, even the guy that's leveling up and he's seeing that he has this buff. And I always see this buff as the way the Lord of the Rings Online does it, where your hope is increased and your overall health is increased, because, and it says, if you scroll over the little buff, it says battles go well in faraway lands or whatever like that. And yeah, so somebody leveling up and seeing that little buff in his box or whatever and seeing it come and go might think, oh man, I want to kind of be a part of those battles in that faraway land that's giving me these buffs as I'm leveling up.
Yeah, it's like, where is this buff coming from?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something you see too much with the PvE side of things.
Yeah, it's not like, I conquered a dungeon in PvE. Oh wait, I didn't get an extra buff? What's up?
Yeah.
Yet I conquer a keep, or I take a scroll back to my my territory and I get a buff for everyone. So I would definitely say that's PvP focused. All right, now this is the big one that just, came out recently that we learned thanks to our interview with Nick Conkle.
The Conk?
Just saying, Mr. The Conk.
Yeah.
That guild stores can publicly display... that guilds can publicly display their guild stores within Cyrodiil when they control a keep. So initially we thought it was all throughout Tamriel that a guild can just go to some store or something, some physical structure, and then display their guild store to everyone. But now we learned that you can only do it if your guild owns a keep, and then they can only display their guild store within that keep. So anyone can actually go to that keep and start buying through your guild store.
In Cyrodiil, yeah.
So that's a big one.
This is the single greatest argument you could make that the developers have a PvP focus in their end game. because your whole economy, which economies are huge in MMOs. That's gameplay all within itself is economy, right there. I mean, you have PvP, you have PvE, economy. It sits right there next to those for a lot of people. And the fact that you won't even be able to participate, not even see a glimpse of that, until you get into Cyrodiil.
You have to step foot and basically flag yourself, so you always have to be looking over your back, and that keep can always be under siege at any time.
Sure.
And if it does get under siege, that means you can't leave, using the way shrines unless you want to get completely out of Cyrodiil. I guess you always can leave, but the fact is you're broken from the rest of the keeps when it's under siege.
Yeah, and if you're looking to be a competitive player in any MMO, you're going to use the auction house at some point, whether it's buying potions or ingredients to craft unique items and things like that. You're going to be forced to step into Cyrodiil to engage in trade. That is the single biggest argument right there for a PvP focus. I don't care what anyone says, that more than anything says something.
All right. And the last one we have for the 4s is the open-ended skill system. I definitely see being more tailored for PvP than I do for PvE, because in PvE you can pretty much find that core build you like, and you'll probably be able to just use that build in any situation for the most part. There may be some boss battles that, you may have to take a skill here or there just to fight the mechanics of the fight itself.
Yeah.
But definitely the open-ended skill system you'll see work more in PvP, because you'll see those flavor of the month builds where someone finds a really powerful build, but then people start finding counters to that, which is great to have that open-ended system, because then you can just swap out skills on the fly and be able to attack people and counter their builds.
I think you're exactly right. Because NPCs are a known variable. This boss or this NPC, you could go on a wiki and find out exactly their mechanics, exactly what they do, and it's never going to change. Where players, PvP, and the reason people are drawn towards PvP is it's always changing, always in flux. You have the flavor of the month builds, and then those builds that come up and destroy those builds, and then builds that have to come and destroy the build that killed that build. It's always going to be in flux, and I think the open-ended skill lines, I think you're exactly right, feeds more into PvP than anything. It definitely feeds into PvE as well, but more into PvP.
All right, so those are the 4s. Now let's go into the against ESO being PvP focused. First, let's just say the one that we had already said before, there's no PvP specific gear, so anyone can go and get gear in PvP and then be maxed out while they go into PvE instances or dungeons and, mop the floor with some NPCs. Another one here is there's more actual content created for PvE.
Absolutely, more content.
Billions of quests, basically. Dungeons.
Don't quote us on that. Don't quote us on billions.
A shit ton of quests.
That's called an exaggeration, children.
Hyperbole.
Yes, it was for comedic purposes.
And dungeons and just so much more stuff to actually do in PvE. So you would definitely say that there's a lot more manpower going into the PvE side of things.
Absolutely. I think more time has been dedicated to it as a result. I mean, what was it, 150 hours just to get to level 50 with questing, and then beyond that we have level 50 plus, level 50 plus plus. I mean, the
adventure zones, dungeons, all that stuff.
When the continent of Tamriel is open to explore, with the exception of some zones, the PvP is definitely going to overtake it in terms of content, as it should, I think, absolutely. Where on the PvP side of things, you have Cyrodiil, and at the moment, that is it. We don't have any mentions of battlegrounds or arenas where we can do 3v3 or things like that.
Right.
Or, when I say battlegrounds, I mean more structured, the things you would see in World of Warcraft or Guild Wars 2, like Battle of the Ancients or something like that. It is Cyrodiil, that's it. And I think, do you think people will get bored with that? I mean, there's only so many times you could capture a keep, or because it's one game style. I mean, you have a capture the flag element in there with the Elder Scrolls as well, But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, because there are quests in Cyrodiil to do. There's like PvE style quests, but then there's also like the bounty system that we've talked about before, and there's other quests there that you can do that can, if you just don't feel like sieging keeps, well, then there's plenty of other things you can do in PvP. But yeah, still, it just in no way matches the amount of content in PvE.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't even come close.
So yeah, that kind of rolls into what our second point was, is that there's plenty of end game as well outside of Cyrodiil. So Cyrodiil, they're saying, seems to be a very strong end game thing as well, because you'll have all your gear and stuff already. You're level 50. You've already done the 50 plus content and stuff, so you can do some PvP, and that is great end game stuff. But I would still say there's going to be, and this remains to be seen, but I think there's going to be a ton of endgame content, more so in PvE, because you have the adventure zones, which I have high hopes of that's being great to do, because not only do you have like solo or small group, you also have the large 24-man stuff to do. Yeah. Again, you have the dungeons, you have the master dungeons, which are their 50 plus stuff, and again, all that 50 plus content. All that is considered end game because you're after level 50. Yeah. So all this kind of ties in. All of our all of our against seems to be the massive amount of content there is in ESO that's tailored for PvE. So I think that comes down to it. What do you think? I mean,
I don't know. I think right now, and you made a good point, because I was a little more skeptical about the PvE argument going into this. But in adventure zones, I wish I shared your optimism, but I just can't wrap my head around them until they start to make more announcements. But I will say this, if people are feeling like, and this is for the people who are PvE players who are maybe feeling, and when I'm saying PvE right now, I'm talking about endgame like raiding and stuff like that, because that's what a lot of MMOs are known for,
right?
Or for, the raiders and stuff like that. And I think those people might be feeling a little neglected right now, because I think the marketing strategy of ZeniMax Online is revolving around this PvP for a reason. Because not only do we have the Dark Age of Camelot and that legacy to uphold there, but we also have this idea of the faction wars. I mean, the very symbol on the cover of the game is, the logo is, what is it called? I still don't know the
Ouroboros or something?
The Ouroboros, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, right there, PvP's in your face from the start. You have the factions going at it with each other. So that's definitely the marketing right now. I would love to see more on PvE, specifically raiding, because I want to know that that's going to be catered to as well. I've loved to dip my toes in everything, and where I'm looking forward to this game mostly for exploration and for PvP, I would love to open myself up to PvE stuff as well. I want to experience all this game has to offer, and I want everyone to experience, whether you've played MMOs or not, what makes them so much fun, especially endgame.
All right, so final verdict, as for what we know so far, is ESO PvP focused? What is your opinion?
For me, right now, yes, absolutely. And I think what tipped the scale for that, for me personally, was the guild stores. Above all, was the guild stores.
And I agree with you 100% on there. I also believe that ESO, at least at the moment, is very PvP focused. Now, the other question is this a bad thing? Is it a bad thing?
Not necessarily. I mean, every MMO has to be known for something, right? And for right now, the leveling experience for me is known for the Elder Scrolls type experience we're going to get, with plenty of side quests, plenty of shinies. We can go run in any direction, start exploring our zones and stuff like that. But as far as endgame goes, you can look at MMOs and say what they're most known for. World of Warcraft, for instance. PvE has always been the signature of World of Warcraft. Don't get me wrong, they have awesome PvP, and I've spent countless hours, more hours in fact, in PvP in that game than I did in PvE. But the raiders and stuff, that has what has kept that community alive the most, has been the PvE focus of World of Warcraft. Then you had games like Warhammer Online, which I played. Its keystone feature was its PvP, which was tied into everything in that game. I mean, you couldn't level without going through some zones with some PvP action in it. Now, this game, I could see it releasing, and it's going to be known for that PvP focus. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You have to have your niche, your one thing that you're truly, truly great at, or the best at. You know, you can't be the best at everything. As much as I would love a game that's perfect in every way, they don't exist. So for me, I think it's a good thing.
All right. And like the only issue I would have seen, like, because you see this in other games like World of Warcraft, where skills are basically nerfed based on how they are used in PvP. So if you have like a skill that seems to be very overpowered in PvP, then they nerf it. But then, and when we say nerf, we mean like you basically make this skill shit. Like you don't even want to use it anymore because it's useless. So yeah, and that would then affect your PvE build though, because they don't just change it for PvP, you know, they change it across the board, so that skill just becomes useless, and you're like, what the hell? I was enjoying that skill in PvE, but now I can't use it. But I don't think we're going to see that at all in ESO, because Nick Conkle is basically saying that it's a self-balancing system. They maybe have to turn a few knobs here and there, just like in the beginning, because they realize, okay, this skill was just overpowered to begin with. But we don't think you'll be seeing the nerf bat taken out after launch, like much at all, because again, it is a self-balancing system since they have this open-ended skill system going on. So that would have been my main argument with it being a bad thing. But since I don't think they're going to be doing that in ESO, I really don't see much of a bad thing coming out of ESO being PvP focused.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's good, it's cool, it's, you know, meh, whatever.
It's always good to have a focus. And I mean, we had talked with Nick Conkle about the whole guild store system and the reason why we're being tipped more towards, okay, this is a PvP focused game. He still was trying to convince us. He was convinced that, no, we don't want to drive people towards PvP, and that's not the reason we did the guild stores in Cyrodiil. We want it to be open. You play this game the way you want to play it, and that's, I mean, he stuck to his guns on that. You get to play the game the way you want to play it, and well, we'll see if that pans out, if that's exactly true. What are these freaking adventure zones? Please tell us. That's what this was all about.
Pretty much.
Was release a video on adventure zones, please.
Come on, guys. Come on.
But yeah,
come on.
I guess we'll open up the question to the floor and let the good folks tell us what they think, if this game is more PvP focused or PvE focused, and if that's good or bad in their book.
All right, so that was it for the news this week. So you probably see that we're kind of running a little late in the video.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to skip a couple things, one being the developer question of the week, and sadly, you know, we had a lot of good questions that were submitted this week, and we will save them, but we will not be able to go through those this week. So instead, we are going to have to jump into the sponsors of the week. First one is from Sumaya Abdullahi. Go on, say it.
Say the name?
Yeah.
Sumaya Abdullahi.
Good job. Okay. And a new donor here, Richard Beckett. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say I butchered it probably, but, you know, that's...
Well, you said it how I did,
We don't need to say that anymore. Everyone knows we're going to kill their names.
Yep.
But...
Poyos Hermana, Gustav Brendal. Thank you, sir. New donor here, Christopher Stevenson. Thank you. Another new donor, Daniel Blakeman. I wanted to say Blackman. Does that make me racist at all?
No, it's
okay.
not racist.
Martin Hushna, because he's British, so I'm sure that's how you say his name, right?
He's
Martin
a British Dragonborn.
What does that look like? Is he drinking tea?
Yeah,
dragon?
maybe put some tea in the Dragonborn's hand for that effect.
No. Top hat monocle.
No, just put a
No.
put a flag behind him. Yeah, or something.
You're killing me.
Do it again. Dragonborn.
All right. B-Rye Black, because you know we only got B Black, but I know his first name is Brian, so it's B-Rye Black. You're welcome. Mark Dixon. Hermaeus Mora. Just sounds like you're yawning.
I am yawning. I saved my yawns for this video because I know Hermaeus Mora is coming.
New donor here, Michael Gilder, and he says, Drem yo lok, Josh and Kyle. I have but one humble request in exchange for the septims I have donated to you this day. Could you please add a For the Queen animation, Jesus, similar to that of the Dragonborn one in your ESO Weekly. Make sure you pick out a hot picture. Our queen has to be look fine. Okay. Has to be looking fine, maybe. Thanks, guys, for your awesome videos. Defiantly, I think that means definitely, a highlight of my week.
For the queen!
If you're gonna look for a picture and I'll use it. How about that?
No. There's probably not gonna be a picture hot enough to do her justice.
Yet.
Just find some girl in some good-looking elf cosplay and have her as.
I know the
Queen
one,
of
because there was a cosplay chick that was just featured. I'll use that one.
Excellent,
Okay.
excellent.
Next donor here from a new donor, Carl Pedro. He says, Josh, you are the narrator of the Elder Scrolls lore series. It's something you started. Now, quitting now is not an option. How dare you ponder letting your audience down, you selfish bastard. Good work, Kyle. Spelt wrong, by the way. It's K-Y-L-E. You're not selfish. On another note, both of you are doing such an awesome job presenting and, well, representing ESO. You put your soul into this show, and your passion is inspiring. Keep up the dirty jokes. Hail Sithis.
What the hell? I feel like I'd just been kicked in the nads and then picked
Pat
up,
on the back.
dusted off, given a cup of lemonade. By the way, you're an inspiration to us all. Ouch. I'm very confused right now.
He kind of liked it a little bit, but, that's just because he likes being yelled at. Anyways, new donor here, Nicholas LeMay, and he says, keep up the good work. Don't change voice acting. It is really well done already. Instead, I would like more content or videos each week. It seems that you guys are passionate about this game, and if you have the time, I would definitely listen to more of your stuff. Since I am not a minion of the Dominion, I hope to see you on. That's on the battlefield. I want a slice of you before your blood runs dry. Ouch.
Oh.
Have a great day.
Like a strip of bacon just sliced
Right
off
the
my-
back.
Yeah.
Well, we will be doing videos every week come the Fallout and the Elder Scrolls lore series.
Yes.
So you're welcome. A new donor here, Jack Murphy, says, for all of you RP enthusiasts out there, visit esostories.engine.com, where you can type up your character's background story and share with others in preparation for ESO's launch.
Nice. There's the RP community doing what they've always done, fend for themselves, because the developers don't cater to them.
Jessica Reno, new donor here, says, this is a message, nay, a summons for all those who would endeavor to serve the Dark Lord of Domination, every day that the Dominion, Pact, and Covenant continue their meager existence as his distractors, our master gains his dark strength. My fellow slaves, I, Starlight on Scales, I think they're an Argonian, have seen that now is our time to rise up and prove our loyalty to our Lord by doing what we can to aid in his rise to power. We will be a guild of sorts when we have gathered, although we accept any and all, man, mer, or beast. Our presence is currently strongest within the ranks of the Ebonheart Pact. All who wish to join in our works should contact the YouTube user Pokafira.
Very cool, very cool. That's the first guild I've seen that's actually taking the side of Molag Bal. I guess they like enslavement, which is very interesting. I just wish there was a style of play for them to actually do that in their quests and stuff. Because all the quests are going to be geared toward taking Molag Bal down, which
what about those who want to follow?
Exactly. And that's a discussion for another day.
Dawson, I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. That's a song from Dawson's Creek. Dawson Erickson, new donor, says, check my guild at it's tharmtokillsea.engine.com. We haven't seen that in a while.
See, you always have to say it like that.
Tharmtokillsea, but I know how to say it now, which is great. We are a group of hardcore Elder Scrolls players looking to draw blood of the lesser races.
Oh yes, yes. I can smell the
high elf.
Yeah, I can definitely smell the high elf.
Another donor here. I'm still not sure if it's Jens Hemmelstrong. Hey, it's your fault because you left a message and you still didn't correct me, so I'm going to say it how I want to.
I guess you were
saying
saying
he says,
it right.
you are awesome, guys. Keep up the good work. Even though you say my name wrong. And you know what? These people from Denmark and stuff have awesome names because it sounds like they come straight out of Skyrim. But anyways. Like here, Asger Holgard. Come on, that doesn't come straight from Skyrim. Come on.
He's a Nord through and through.
Solution Guild. is looking for new members at the moment. We are also looking for traders and officers. Come to solutionguild.dk and apply. You have to be able to speak Danish, well, that rules me out, and be a part of Daggerfall Covenant, also rules me out. And now he's going to have me speak Danish like I can do it.
Oh, gosh.
You're dead, dog, something. Guys.
You didn't even try.
I really didn't. Come on. You think I would have? No. Guys, you are doing a great job, except for speaking Danish. Next donor here, Carlos Flores. We are the Ebonheart Legion. We are a coalition of several PS4 Ebonheart Pact guilds looking to cover all aspects of ESO and becoming the guild to join on the PS4 mega server. We are always looking for new recruits, so if you're interested in joining, visit us at ebonheartlegion.engine.com. Oh, made it. And the last final donation here from Timothy Ellis,
otherwise known as Arcade.
And he says, crap, forgot about Wednesday change. Here is money, and for the queen, etc. And that is the donations for the week. If you would like to donate to the ShoddyCast, go to ShoddyCast.com. You'll see a donation link on the right-hand side of the screen. If you donate $10 or more, you can leave a promotion for us to butcher through as we did today.
Yes, any and all septums donated to the ShoddyCast go right back into the ShoddyCast, not into our pockets. Any amount is greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, you've reached the end of this installment of ESO Weekly. May the tears ensue. I have been your co-host, Josh. Don't forget to like and share this video with everyone you know.
Oh, and I've been your other co-host, Kyle.
We'll catch you later.
Boy.